Welcome to Table for One. I'm the narrator, and in today's video, I'll be doing a solo playthrough of Vestige. And in this video, I'm going to play against the solo opponent Dunecrest. Let's get rolling. Alright, so I'm all set up to play a solo game of Vestige, and as I said in the introduction, I'm going to be playing against one Nemesis opponent. I am playing against Dunecrest, which is one of the two that comes with the base game without any additional scrap packs. And while I have a bunch of stuff for Vestige, I am using all of the standard tiles today. I'm not using any of the special tiles or in the expansions, and I'm not using any of the other scrap packs shuffled into these decks. Those are things that I do want to explore later, but I thought for this first video, this would probably be the way to start. But I am playing as the yellow player, which was one of the two colors that comes in the 5 to 6 player expansion, but that doesn't actually have any bearing on gameplay effects. And so I do want to note before I get started a couple things. One, I've got chapter markers, so if you want to jump to a particular part, you can do that. Two, I'll give you a bunch of thoughts at the end of the video. So if you want to hear those, then you can jump straight there or wait until after the playthrough. And then three, I want to note that it seems like, because this is still new at time of recording, it seems like there's a decent amount of discussion and confusion online around some of the solo rules. And there's an FAQ coming and perhaps some errata. So and it seems like that's imminent. So it might even be out by the time this video is released. But at least as for today, mistakes are always possible on this channel. And if you think you see any, call it out in the comments. But I'm going to be doing my best to play the rules as written in the original rule book. There is no errata or FAQ available at this time. So a couple differences from the multiplayer game when we're playing solo. One, all of the map tiles are revealed at the beginning of the game. And secondly, there is no end game condition card revealed before the game starts. And then we will actually need 3 end game conditions to be triggered for the end of the game to happen instead of the usual 2. On top of that, I've dealt 2 covert ops cards to each of those 3 trigger points because it says to deal 1 for each player. The Nemesis is never going to gain 1, and so I assume the second one, maybe I can deal just 1, but I assume there's a second one there just to give me the option to spend a conviction to look at them both and pick the one that I want. And then I did get this random covert ops card here to start with. So this says, visit the garage and have a smuggler contact that has at least 3 influence. When complete, flip this card face up and immediately remove all blocks from your smuggler contact and upgrade your speed 1 extra time for free. So that's something that I can work towards. So I'll put that over here. And then I've got 2 chop bots. Let me show you these. So I've got Whiskers and Rain Gear. And I don't start with them both. I get to look at these 2 and pick one, keep one. The other one goes back in the chop bot deck. And so all the chop bots have the same activation ability. When you activate the bot, you get one of the standard attributes. So cunning, might, or ambition. I don't know why I did them in that order. Cunning is blue, might is red, ambition is yellow. But then for all the chop bots, whenever they have 2 or more cubes on them, then they have a passive ability that is always active. So Whiskers has, once per turn, you may move a block from one of your cards to another. That's really powerful. I think that's what I'm going to go with. For Rain Gear, we have, when you return influence from contacts, you may place it on your artifacts, which is cool if you've got artifacts that you are using a lot and want to charge. I don't know if I'm going to be doing a lot of artifacts, so I think I'll go with Whiskers. The other thing to point out is if you look at the top right corner of each card, it'll tell you what type of jobs this chop bot can take. So Whiskers can take the orange ones. That's Guile, that's associated with bounties, and then Rain Gear has purple, that's ingenuity, and it's associated with augmentation. So if I'm taking Whiskers, then I have a easier time getting some bounties right away. So I will take Whiskers, put that there, take Rain Gear, and just shuffle it back into the chop bot deck. And there are 3 chop bots out at the market. We've got Chassis, Rex, and Skeeter. And then we've got, of course, a variety of other stuff out there. I was looking at this one, and I would really like to grab it, this augmentation, which I don't have a way to grab right now. I would need either a smuggler or a lawmaker in order to, or a different chop bot, like chassis, for example, to complete an augmentation job. I'm sorry, an artifact job. Artifacts are green. But this one, when you return an influence off of it, you can then upgrade that influence to conviction. So that is super handy. I wouldn't mind getting that. But again, in order to do that, I'll probably want to get a lawmaker or a smuggler first. I might want to get the smuggler so that it pairs with this covert op that I have to have a smuggler and go to the garage. So that gives me some sense of things I might want to do. Also, the augmentation there is dashboards. They let you gain an extra movement action, which is really powerful. So if I'm interested in that, it's another reason I might want a smuggler, because smugglers can do augmentations and artifacts. That's sort of how this whole board works. If you have a mercenary, they can do augmentations and bounties. If you have a lawmaker, they can do bounties and artifacts. And then this current bounty that is on top, that is the pruner. I've had that one before. It's really cool. That one allows you to gain bonus points for any other bounties you've completed. So that one encourages you to do a lot of bounties, which is not bad with this chop bot, but we'll see how things develop. So that's my setup kind of done. Let's take a look at Dunecrest though. There's a couple of cards here. Here, we'll grab all three of these and zoom in on them. So let's take a look at these. If we look at the card on the left, we'll look at that strategy report. It says Dunecrest is attempting to increase their ambition and threat level and aim to have all their influence in play. Remove their threats to keep their ambition in check and to minimize their endgame leverage surge. So they have a triggered ability. When a player gains cunning and or might, Dunecrest gains an equal amount of leverage. So this is how they're going to be scoring points. The more cunning and might I gain, the more leverage they're going to get. When a player gains guile and or intrigue, Dunecrest gains an equal amount of ambition. So at endgame, Dunecrest gains leverage equal to his ambition multiplied by his threat level. So we want to keep his threat level ideally at 0. Certainly don't want to get to 2 or any higher than 2. And then when all scoring is resolved, if all his blocks are off his mat, he automatically wins. So we don't want to let him get too much ambition. And the final card there on the right says, each round after all human players have taken a turn, Dunecrest takes one of the following actions based on his current threat level. So threat level 0, Dunecrest gains 1 leverage. If it is threat level 1, then instead Dunecrest gains 1 lawmaker. And at threat level 2 or above, Dunecrest gains 1 ambition. So that's how those cards work. Normally you would put this stuff in a single lane, and then their threats, as they gain threats, will go under it, and then as they gain other cards that are tabbed low, you continue stacking downward. But I'm only playing against 1 Nemesis. You can play against 2 or 3 if you want, but since I've only got the 1, I'll just take up the whole mat here because these things don't need to be in any particular order. So we've got some extra threat cards here. There are 1 hidden threat card for Dunecrest in each of these stacks, the Lawmaker stack, the Smuggler stack, and the Mercenary stack, which now that I think about it, if you play with scrap packs, especially if you throw a bunch of scrap packs in there, I guess you're going to dilute all those decks and you'll see those threats less often. That's kind of interesting. But then also, as we go around this leverage track, as we hit these trigger points, not only will we gain a covert op and reveal an endgame condition, but also we will reveal a threat. And that'll immediately come into play on Dunecrest's Nemesis board. And only the player triggers these different trigger points around the edge of the board. The Dunecrest has got his own marker here, and he does not trigger any of that stuff. So I think that's everything we need to know to get started. We are the first player. The Nemesis or the Nemesis always take their turn after all human players, because you can play you can add this to a multiplayer game and you can play against multiple Nemesis. So all human players go, they're last in turn order, and they go left to right. You kind of follow the icons here, 1, 2, and 3. So let's take our first turn. And I know I said I would like to get a smuggler with 3 influence on them and then visit the garage. So I think I'll probably try and go to the underground to get the smuggler. And so I'm going to activate Whiskers to try and get some more might so that when I hit the garage, I can level up. And luckily there's a garage right next to Smuggler's lair and the underground. Just right there's a good spot. So if I go 1, 2, 1, 2, then next turn I should have enough ability it'll take me 3 turns to do all that stuff just because I can only visit so many places. But that's pretty good. That won't take too long. And then this artifact is probably my top priority of all the face up stuff, even though of course you can top deck a card instead. But this comes from, where is that? The scrapyard? Yes, and the scrapyard is here. So I'll probably want to go here and then start making my way to the scrapyard. So my smuggler can pick up this artifact job. Okay, so that's enough talk. Let's start doing. I'm going to start with my move action. 1, 2. That is required. I do have to move. Everything else is optional, but I'm going to activate my network. I will activate Whiskers. When activated, gain a basic attribute. I will gain 1 might. And with Dunecrest, whenever I gain might, he's going to gain an equal amount of leverage. So he's winning 1 to 0. So he's got infinitely more points than I do, just as a strict multiplier. I can visit a place or I can rest. I can't really pick up or complete a job right now. I mean, I guess I could pick up this bounty job because you pick it up at the Oasis. I'm next to the Oasis and I could assign a bounty to Whiskers. So it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing to grab. So, okay, sure. Since I can do it, pick up or complete a job. I will pick up this job. So it gets completed at Smuggler's Lair. This is the Pruner. Gain 2 leverage at game end. For each completed bounty in your tableau, max 8 leverage. So there's a bounty on this guy, and Whiskers is going to try and complete the bounty. As you can see, the 2 cards, when you slot it in the top, they've got icons that match, that snap together, so you know that you've got it in the right place. Now we're going to flip this over. So this is the next bounty. This is from the cover of the box. This is Zoya, and at game end, gain 2 leverage for each of your contacts with no influence on them. Again, max 8 leverage. So if we'd like to pick up that bounty, we can do so at Lawmaker's Ridge. And I am adjacent to Lawmaker's Ridge as well, but I don't have anyone else. I've only got Whiskers here in my network, and my poor bot's already got a job to do. So, and I've already taken that action once this turn. So the only other thing I can do is visit or rest. And I might want to visit the obelisk. It lets you take any 2 attributes and turn them into any 2 other attributes. And so I could take this ambition and this cunning and turn them into intrigue so that I can pay to complete this augmentation or this artifact when I get there. However, if I gain 2 intrigue, I will immediately cause Dunecrest to gain 2 ambition. And we don't want all his blocks to come off of here. Because again, if they're all off after endgame scoring, then we automatically lose regardless of leverage. So if I don't visit the obelisk, my other option is I can upgrade either a potential to an influence or an influence to a conviction. And so let's go ahead and rest. And I'm just going to upgrade, as much as I'd like a conviction, I'm going to upgrade a potential to an influence because you can't really do anything with all this potential, and I'd like to use it. And then assuming I am able to get this artifact, that'll help me get conviction later. So that's it. I'm not using any bonus actions. That's going to be it for my turn. I'll reset these markers, which are real handy to have. And now it's Dunecrest's turn. He is at threat level 0 because he has no threat cards. So that means he's just going to gain 1 leverage, and that's his turn. So easy enough. So scores 2-0, back to me. And so again, I will start with move. You don't have to start with move, but there's my 2 moves to here. So I can interact with the garage, the underground, or Lawmaker Ridge, because that's what I'm adjacent to. And I will visit the underground. So the cost is to deactivate a conviction, and then I can gain a Lawmaker, a Smuggler, or a Mercenary. So I'm going to gain a Smuggler. So I just grab off the top of the deck. And who do we have here? This is Luck. So while active, once this turn, you may add 1 influence to this card, gain an additional move action with a speed of 2. And whenever we activate Luck, then we gain, again, 1 Cunning and 1 Might. And you can see in the top right corner of the card, you can do Augmentation or Artifact jobs. And in the top left corner, there's number 2, we gain 2 Leverage, just for recruiting Luck. So here's Luck, I gain 2 Leverage. And so I visited a location and I've done a move. And so let's activate my network now. And you know what? I'm going to activate Luck, who then gives me 1 Cunning and 1 Might. And that will give 2 leverage to Dunecrest. So it's 4-2. And then once this turn, I may add an influence to this card to gain an additional move action with a speed of 2. And I will do that. So let's add the influence to gain an additional move action of 2. I'm going to go 1, 2. I think I'm trying to go to the scrapyard. I don't remember why. Oh, because that's where I'm going to pick this up. Okay. And so now he's got 2 cubes on him, and I want 3 cubes on him for this card, and I want to be next to the garage. So I think next time when I activate a contact, I'll activate Whiskers. It'll have 2 cubes on it, so I can use its special ability to move a cube onto luck, and then I can visit the garage and complete this, and then head to the scrapyard and pick up this job. So I think I'm in good shape there. I can still pick up or complete a job right now, and I'm next to the garage. I could pick up dashboards and put that on luck, but he already gives me extra movement. That gives me extra movement. I don't know if I need that much extra movement right now, so that's something I'll probably come back to. I'm not going to pick up that job. And then let's see. In order to eventually complete this job, I am going to need another ambition. So what I might do, I might move here, so I'm adjacent to Scrapyard and Archives, because I can go to the Archives and gain ambition pretty easily that way. So I'm not going to do this last part. I'm not going to do any bonus actions. So that's it for my turn. Now we go to Dunecrest, who again is at threat level 0. He's gaining 1 leverage, and it comes back to me. So simple enough. Oh, and you know what? I don't even need to go to the Archives. Watch this. I am going to activate my network. I'm going to activate Whiskers. When I do that, I can gain 1 basic attribute. I'm going to take an ambition. And then there are 2 blocks on Whiskers. So there's a special ability that's now permanently on until there's less than 2 blocks. It says once per turn, you may move a block from one of your cards to another. I'll do it now. And now that I've done that, I've got 3 blocks on luck, and the passive ability turns back off on Whiskers because they've only got 1 block on them instead of 2. Now I'm going to visit a location. I'm going to visit the garage that costs 3 might. I have 3 might, so this returns here. And so when I do that, I increase my speed. So now my speed is 3. I gain 1, 2, 3 leverage for that. And then I would reveal this Covert Ops card, which says, visit the garage and have a smuggler contact that has at least 3 influence, which they do. So I've completed this, and then it says, immediately remove all blocks from your smuggler and from your smuggler contact and upgrade your speed 1 extra time for free. So this is going to go from 3 to 4. That gets me 4 leverage. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm at 9. 1 more leverage, and I'll hit the trigger. So I'm just going to set this aside as a completed covert op. It probably won't matter, but it's possible an endgame condition or scoring condition or something could care about how many covert ops I've completed. So I am now going to take my required move action. I have a speed of 4, and all I really care about is being adjacent to the scrapyard so I can pick up this job. But I've got, a few locations to choose from. Probably one of these 3 is where I want to end up. I'm trying to think where I might want to go next. This is completed at the mercenary camp. This is completed at Smuggler's Lair. Smuggler's Lair is here. Mercenary camp's up there. So I'm probably going to want to go up that way. And so for my movement, I'm just going to go to here because my movement speed is 4 now. So next time I can go 1, 2, 3, 4 and be adjacent to both the mercenary camp and the Smuggler's Lair. So I've taken my movement. Now I'm going to pick up a job. I'm going to pick up this one from the scrapyard and assign it here to luck, my smuggler, and it gets completed at the mercenary camp. Now we're going to flip this over. So the next artifact here is we can pick up another artifact at the Oasis, and I believe there's 2 of those. Here's an Oasis, and here's one, so I'm still next to one. But this is the Obelisk Energy Cell, and this lets you spend cubes off of here to look at cards in any deck, basically. So that's kind of neat. I like this one a lot better, though. So I don't think I'm going to do any bonus actions. So let's reset these action trackers. Now Dunecrest gets a turn, still threat level 0. He goes up 1 influence, back to me. So I'm going to start by activating my network. I'm going to activate Whiskers and gain a might attribute. So that's 1 leverage for Dunecrest. But I'm going to want the might because I'm going to need might and ambition to be able to complete this bounty for Whiskers. I don't know how I'm going to get the ambition yet, but that's a problem for another time. At least my Chopbot has 2 cubes on it now, so that I've got that passive ability again. And maybe it would be good if I could get a conviction, which I should be able to with this card. If I can get a conviction to use it to get more chop bots, because those passives can be really strong because it costs conviction to gain more chop bots. And unfortunately, the chop shop is on the opposite side of the board from the generator, where I can put more I can put more cubes on my artifacts in the generator. So I might be running back and forth to get conviction and then go spend it. But in any case, let's take our movement. Our speed is 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, so I'm adjacent to the mercenary camp, the smuggler's lair, and the jump point. And I would like to complete a job. So I'm going to complete this mercenary, or this artifact job at the adjacent mercenary camp. So you need to do a couple things. You need to spend 2 intrigue, which I can create out of ambition and cunning, and I also need to roll this die. So let's, oh, and I don't have any conviction, so I hope I don't get a bad roll. Yeah, I guess just wish me luck. All right, so I got that plus. That means I can upgrade a cube, and I'm going to upgrade a potential into influence again. So that was nice. The other ones would be with this. This would be a 1 discount. This would be having to put 2 influence on the smuggler in order to achieve the job. And then this one is losing your contact. You lose the card. This only applies to your people, to your lawmakers, your mercenaries, and your smugglers, not to your chop bots, to be clear. But anyway, I got a good roll. So I got my good roll. Now I need to convert these into intrigue. So these 2 yellows and these 2 blues combine to make 2 green. The 2 left over come back to my influence. And because I gained 2 intrigue, Dunecrest is going to gain 2 ambition. But I've rolled my die, I'm paying the cost. So now this job is complete. When the job is complete, I gain 3 influence for it. 1, 2, 3. I passed this trigger. So let me put this up here so I don't forget. But now a few more things are going to happen. There's going to be a little interrupt here. So first there's a new endgame condition. It says at the top, endgame is initiated when 2 endgame conditions have been met and turned face down, but that is not true again for a solo game. You need 3. Anyway, it says the number of artifact jobs completed matches the number of human players in the game, which means, it excludes the Nemesis. It's just me. And I have actually just completed an artifact job. So there is 1 artifact job complete and there is 1 human player in the game. So this endgame condition is already met. So I think that's part of the reason. I'll put it over here. I'll just flip it because it's already done. That's part of the reason you need more of these satisfied to trigger the end game in solo mode. And then I grabbed too many of these. I just grabbed the top covert op off the deck, so I don't know what the other one is. I don't have any conviction to spend to surveil that deck, but we'll look at what I got. It says take control of a region from another player while using your visit action on a different region. So the Nemesis can take control of regions. We'll perhaps see that later. Then when complete, flip this card face up and move up to 3 of your blocks from their current attribute hexes to adjacent ones, okay? That one's all right. I'm not going to rush out to try and complete that one, but it could be helpful. Kind of depends on the timing. And then we also have a threat card for Dunecrest. So let's take a look at this. It says, immediately, Dunecrest gains 1 smuggler and 1 ambition. So for the ambition, we're just going to take a block from here and put it here. And then 1 smuggler, going to gain the top smuggler from the deck. This is Cable 33. We don't really care about anything that it does, but it is worth 2 leverage. So Dunecrest gets the 2 leverage. Then if we go back to the card, it says to remove this threat, have a lawmaker in your network when you visit the black market. You may then, as a bonus action, use 2 might. Boy, this one's involved. Dunecrest loses 1 ambition if able. Place that block on a threat card or of his. Put this block on a threat card of his. Other than this, it returns to his mat only when that threat is removed, and if there's no threat, if there's no threat to place it on currently. Okay, you may upgrade 1 block and then discard this threat. All right, so that one's a little bit involved. I guess I'll put it here. So I'm going to need to get a lawmaker and then visit the black market. Where is that? Where is the black market? I see the black dove. Oh, that's the black market. Okay. So I've got to get a lawmaker, then visit the black market and spend 2 might at that time. And then I'll clear that threat card. And it's definitely worth doing. That's a lot of steps. So, okay, that's done. We can go back to resolving this. I got my 3 influence. That's what triggered all that to happen. So I've got this artifact now. This is the Fulcrum's Rod, and it says, when this job is completed, place 1 to 3 influence here. So that's up to me. I'm going to put 3 on this particular one. And then I can activate it once per turn. And when I do, return an influence from here and then upgrade it to conviction. I'm going to activate that immediately. And at least in this first edition, this is an unfortunate miss here on the reminder card. There's an empty space here under bonus actions. It should list using your artifacts as well. It's just missing from here, but it is a bonus action. It's not one of the main actions. So if you've got these reminder cards, just know that it would fit perfectly in that empty space there. But yeah, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to activate it and then turn that influence into conviction. That's awesome. And now, thanks to these handy trackers that are built in here, I've got the trackers from Unsettled, and those are like an add-on, but like they're really useful. So I'm glad they built them in here, because there was a lot of things that just happened. There's no way I'd remember what actions I had taken and which I hadn't. But I can see now I have the option to either visit or rest. And I don't have a lot of attributes. I've got one might and nothing else. So I'm not going to visit the mercenary camp or the smuggler's lair. And I'm not going to try and take the jump point. Although, you know what? That would actually be very helpful. I will. I'll take a free bonus action. I'll use this conviction to control the jump point. So that gives me 2 leverage. When you control the jump point, you may switch this tile's location with another tile. I'm going to switch it with the archives because I need the ambition in order to gain a lawmaker. So, all right, I will now visit the archives and gain 2 ambition. Nice. And so I don't think I'm going to take any other bonus actions. I think that's it for me. I'm going to reset this. And now we're going to come over here. It's Dunecrest's turn. He's got 1 threat card. So his threat level is 1. So he's not going to do the threat level 0. He's going to do threat level 1. Again, I'll read the top of this card. Each round, after all human players have taken a turn, Dunecrest takes 1 of the following actions based on his current threat level. So threat level 1, Dunecrest gains 1 lawmaker. So he's going to be building up his network. He gets a lawmaker. This is Valum. We don't really care what that guy does. All we care about is that he's worth 2 leverage. 1, 2. Again, nothing triggers when the Nemesis passes these trigger points. That's only for human players. Oh man, that is a cool card though. I wish I had it. You can activate that card using potential. So that's a nice way to get potential out. I've never seen that one. I like that. Wish that I had it. But it is my turn now, and I will start by moving. The thing I want to do most is get a lawmaker. 1, 2, 3. I could go 1 more, and I guess why don't I? Why don't I go here? I guess it doesn't really matter. I guess from either of these locations, I can get adjacent to the black market next time. But that was my move. I'm going to visit Lawmaker's Ridge. So I spend 2 ambition to gain a lawmaker. Let's see. I got Crux. And so Crux gets me 2 leverage. Let's go up there. And this says when I activate them, or while active, return 2 influence from this card. Gain control of an adjacent uncontrolled region using influence instead of conviction. Wow, that is really cool too. I like that. So now I've got somebody else who can do bounty jobs as well. Let's see, I haven't activated anyone yet either, but that's really cool. I'm going to want to make use of that. I can do a bonus action here. I'm going to take this back and then turn it into conviction. So that's super cool. And you know what? Watch this combo. I'm going to activate network. I'll activate Crux, which gives me 2 ambition. And then I'll use this passive again because it's active. You may move a block from one of your cards to another. I'm going to move this over to here. And now, while active, return 2 influence from this card. Gain control of an adjacent uncontrolled region using influence instead of conviction. So, I don't know, let's take the observatory. That's worth 2. That seems pretty good. And I can still pick up or complete a job, and I think I might as well. And I'm next to Lawmaker's Ridge, and I'm next to the garage. And I think I'm more interested in the augmentation than in another bounty. Even though, assuming I ever complete this bounty, then this one would be a good one to get too, because this one gives me points for how many completed bounties I have. But I'm less interested in getting bounties because to do it, I have to make Guile. And as I get Guile, then Dunecrest gains ambition. And I don't want too many blocks to come off of here. Whereas if I go for the augmentations, that's going to require me to get Cunning and Might. And that only pushes up Dunecrest's leverage rather than the ambition. So yeah, I think I'll start with this. Maybe I'll come back to bounties. I don't know. And I do want the available one. So I'm next to the garage, so I'm picking up dashboards, which actually is completed at the garage. I'm going to have to slot this here on luck because he's got the ability to complete that type of job. So we flip this top card over. And we've got a new card there, and that one gets picked up, looks like at the mercenary camp. And that one, when you've got it slotted, installed on a contact or or I suppose on a chop bot, whenever you activate them, whatever attributes they give you, you get one additional. So that's pretty good. I don't have any more main actions. I think I've taken all the bonus actions I'm going to take. So that's it for me. Go back to Dunecrest. He's got threat level 1, so he's going to gain another lawmaker. And so again, that's worth 2 influence, or 2, I'm sorry, leverage. But let me point something out to you here. You can see this is Nerve of the Codex. And under his name, it doesn't just say Lawmaker like it does for most of the Lawmakers. It says Codex Lawmaker. And so I only point that out to you because there are some cards, I think they were covert ops cards that might ask you to specifically like have someone from the codex or like with the codex attribute. And for a while I couldn't figure out what the heck are they talking about. But you know, and it's not just codex, it might be other things. I think I remember botany, for example. So just thought that was worth pointing out. So that was Dunecrest's turn. Now it's back to me. And I think I'm going to put a stop to him gaining all these lawmakers. And again, he's threat level 1. So at the end of the game, we multiply his threat level by his ambition. So that's another reason we don't want that to go up. But I am going to activate, well, nobody. Actually, I am going to pick up or complete a job. And I'm going to pick up one of these bounty jobs. I don't know if I want that one, though. I think I'm going to take the next one. So we got blue. This one completes at the scrapyard. Gain 1 leverage at end of game for each of the 7 card colors in your tableau, 6 plus chop bots. So I imagine incomplete jobs don't count for that. But assuming I complete a bounty and this augmentation, I'll have, let's see, chop bot. I'll have everything so far except for a mercenary. So that's pretty good. So that'll get me, if I complete that and that'll be 6 points. So that's pretty good. So I've taken that job. And I've got to complete that at the scrapyard over here. But now I will activate my network. And do I want to do Whiskers or do I want to do Luck? I think I probably want to do Whiskers. So I'm going to gain 1 Might, and that provides 1 leverage to Dunecrest. And then I've got the passive ability again. I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to use this artifact. Take this off, gain a conviction. And then I'm going to use Whiskers ability, this passive. Once per turn, you may move a block from one of your cards to another. Let's just keep feeding the Fulcrum's Rod that way. All right, so now I'm going to take my move action. I've got a speed of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm adjacent to the black market. I'm trying to complete this. I need to visit it. So I'm going to visit the black market, which gains me 2 cunning. And that gets me 2 leverage, so I'm going to land on that trigger point. No, wait, back up. That gains Dunecrest 2 leverage, not me. Okay, I haven't triggered it yet. And then this card says, have a lawmaker in your network. I do. When you visit the black market, I just did. You may then, as a bonus action, use 2 might. So I'm going to spend this 2 might. I assume use means spend. Now, Dunecrest loses 1 ambition if able. Place that block on a threat card of his other than this. He doesn't have another one. So if he did, it would return to his mat only when that threat is removed or if there is no threat to place it on currently. You may upgrade 1 block and then discard this threat. So I will upgrade from potential to influence. Since I've got a good pipeline for conviction here, I'd rather just get more cubes out. And now this threat is solved. So I'm going to put it I guess upside down over here. There's a few extra threat cards that we may need to grab for one reason or another if something instructs us to. So on the one hand, I'm glad we dealt with the threat, but if you look, like I'm about to reveal another threat, so I don't know, that took a lot of my time. I hope the next one I can do a little bit more easily because I would really like to complete these existing jobs, especially this one at the garage, to give me more movement. That'll give me a lot more flexibility if I can get that done. But while I'm here, I've got 2 conviction. I can control another location. Why don't I go ahead and control the black market? They're all worth 2, so it doesn't really matter to me. So I get 2 leverage, and then I'm going to gain the top covert ops card. And there's a new endgame condition and a new threat card. All right, so here's the 3 new cards. Let's take them left to right. First is the Covert Op. So that says, visit the chop shop with 2 fully charged chop bots. I would like to get more chop bots. I talked about that. And then when complete, flip this card face up. Immediately use an influence block to gain control of the chop shop. That's all right. The new endgame condition is a human player controls 4 more regions than each other player. So I can trigger that one easily because I control 3 regions right now. So if I control one more before Dunecrest gains any, then that'll trigger the second endgame condition already. So this is going a lot different than my previous games. This is flying by. And then let's look at the new threat here. Immediately, Dunecrest gains 1 ambition per player and control of any oasis regions. Okay, so that's going to give him control of 2 regions, so that middle objective will not happen as quickly as I thought it would. And honestly, that's okay. Here, let me put this card down, put this endgame condition here. So immediately gains 1 ambition per player. So that's just 1, and control of any oasis regions. So here's an oasis and here's an oasis. Okay. And each of those is worth 2 leverage. So he's going to go from 16 to 20. And to remove this threat, all oasis regions must be controlled by human players. Ooh, so by completing this, I will also complete this objective, this endgame condition, I should say. Then the player or players who control the oases may, as a bonus action, use all their ambition, which for me right now is 2. I may or may not want to add ambition to that, depending on what this next sentence is. I wonder if 0 counts if you have to use all the ambition. But it says players gain 1 leverage for each ambition they personally used. Oh, okay. And then Dunecrest loses 1 ambition per player. Discard this threat. Basically, if you load up on ambition before doing that, then you can convert all that ambition into leverage. So, okay, that is the end of my turn. So, oh man, I just cleared the threat, and by taking that bonus action, that triggered a new threat. So it's Dunecrest's turn. He's at threat level 1. He's going to gain another lawmaker, and that will get him another 2 leverage. He's going up to 22. That's okay. I think this is well under control. So I'm finding that I need some might, because I'm going to need 2 might to combine with this cunning in order to complete this and this and this. I need like a lot of might, and that's the one thing I don't have, and I don't have a good way to get 2 might. A decent way to do that is frequently to get a mercenary, but I don't have one. And how do you get a mercenary? You spend more might. But I've got some ideas on that. So I'm going to start with my move action. I think I'm going to complete this bounty first and then get these dashboards, even though I'd really like to get the dashboards first. So I can do up to 4 moves. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And then I will visit the scrapyard. So that gives me 2 might. And that gives Dunecrest 2 leverage. And so then I will complete a job. I'm going to complete this bounty job at the scrapyard. So that's going to cost 2 guile, but I also need to roll. Ooh, and I rolled the sever contact. That's not good. So that means I would still complete the job, but I would lose this lawmaker. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to spend a conviction as a bonus action to re-roll. Okay, and I can pick from any of the results that I've rolled. I'm going to pick this one to upgrade a power. I'm going to upgrade from potential to influence. And then I need to combine ambition and might into guile. So these 2 and these 2 combine to make 2. The 2 guile gives Dunecrest 2 ambition, which I don't like. But I then pay the 2 guile to complete this job. So this bounty job is complete, and that's just good for endgame scoring. So gain 1 leverage for each of the 7 card colors in your tableau. So I've got orange, yellow, green, blue, and gray right now, and I would like to get a purple next. Then I'm going to take a bonus action to take this block off of here, and it turns into conviction, which is cool. And I still haven't activated my network. And I might as well activate my chop bot, whisk ears, to gain a might, which is now going to be 1 leverage for Dunecrest. And then I will use this passive to move that block over to that artifact. So I like that little loop that I've got going. That's pretty cool. And you know what I can do at the start of my next turn? I can do that again, and with my 2 conviction, I can take over that oasis before I move away from it. So I like that. I think that's it for my bonus actions. So I'm going to reset these. Go to Dunecrest, threat level 1, gain a lawmaker, another 2 leverage. Okay, and so one thing to consider is at the end of the game, when we're figuring out who has majorities for all of these different types, I'm probably not going to get lawmakers, but they've got one smuggler and I've got a smuggler, so I might want to get a second smuggler to beat them out on that one. But it's my turn again. So again, let's start with that little loop. I'm going to take this down and it upgrades. I'm going to activate my network. It'll be Whiskers. I'll gain another might. That's another leverage over here. And then I'll use this passive to put that block back over here. Before I leave, I will spend the 2 conviction to take over the Oasis. And so I gain 2 leverage for that. So 1 Oasis is gone. I got to control them both to take care of that. And now I'll move and I'm going to complete this at the garage, but I want to be 1, 2, 3 near the underground because I think I can use conviction there to get another smuggler. So I've moved. I'm next to the garage. That's where this job completes. And so let's complete a job. I'm going to have to roll. Ooh, I can't re-roll, so I got to be careful with this one. I don't know how I'm going to be careful. I'm just rolling a die, but all right, that's going to cost me 2 extra influence. So I've got to put 2 influence cubes on that contact. It's not my favorite thing ever, but it's what it is. Then I need to pay 2 ingenuity, so the 2 red and 2 blue combine to make 2 purple, and I spend them. And ingenuity doesn't do anything with Dunecrest, that's fine. So I complete this augmentation, and then I gain 3 leverage. And I can install this on one of my contacts. And then whenever that contact is active, then I get extra movement. So who do I want to put this on? Maybe we'll put this on Crux. All right, so that is installed now. And then I can either visit a location or rest. And I don't have any attributes of any kind, so I can't visit any of these locations. I don't have conviction either. So I'm going to rest. I'm going to turn a potential into an influence, I think. Is that what I want to do? Or do I want to go from influence to conviction? Because then I can control another location, which is not bad. That would actually instantly trigger this endgame condition, so there would only be one more. Actually, yeah, let's go influence to conviction, because I'm going to need 2 conviction to take that Oasis as well, and I want to spend 1 at the underground, so okay, that's what I'm doing. So now we're going to reset all this, because I'm not taking any other bonus actions. Go to Dunecrest, threat level 1, gets a lawmaker. Another lawmaker for 2 more leverage. Do recall that somewhere in this deck there is another threat card. So I really don't want to keep drawing those because he's going to get another threat too, and that'll be another thing. And you know what? I was talking about gaining another smuggler, but I might be just as well off gaining a mercenary instead because I don't have one, so that'll score me a point with this bounty, and then I'll probably gain the majority for red cards as well. So you know, here, let me do this first. Let me move. I'm just going to move to here, because I think I complete this special op as well. And let me get myself set up to complete this bounty. Let me. I am going to. Geez, could have planned for this better. I am going to activate my network, activate this lawmaker, which gives me 2 ambition. And then it means while they're active, I can use the dashboards. I am going to visit the underground. So I'm going to spend. Wait, how's this going to work? What was my plan? This is not going to work. I'm going to have not enough conviction. Okay, I was trying to complete this covert op, but it's not going to happen. I'm going to visit the underground. I'm going to spend a conviction, and I will gain a mercenary. So let's see who I get. This is Rake, and you can see he's a botanist mercenary. So that's going to get me 2 leverage. Let's grab that. And while active, return 2 influence from this card, convert 2 might to 2 cunning. Okay, so that can give you some flexibility anyway. I don't know that I'm really going to use them much, but it should help me with some scoring. Okay, I've visited the underground. I've activated my network. I've moved. I have another movement action with dashboard. I can pick up or complete a job. Where's this? Smuggler's Lair. I can move. Yeah, what was my plan? I had some plans. Oh, I thought I was going to complete this, and I was banking on the ability to then move 3 of your blocks from their current attribute hexes to adjacent ones. I was going to move that. That's why I got 2 ambition. I was going to turn them into guile to complete this, but now that's not going to happen. So let's take this other move action up to 3 spaces. I'm going to go 1, 2. I want to be by the trench and the obelisk. Ooh, but I guess before that movement, I was adjacent to the underground. I could pick up this job, either this bounty or this bounty. I'll take the one on top. And let's see what it is. This is zombie. At game end, gain leverage equal to your movement speed +2. Ooh, I like that. So I really should be focusing on augmentations. I guess I'll tuck this into here. Because ingenuity is easier to get. I'm not penalized. Guile and intrigue, like I should stay away from them because I keep putting cubes over here and that's not helping me. But I'm hoping that all the scoring from all the bounties adding up will be good for leverage and that I don't use too many of these blocks. So I don't think I'm going to take any free actions at this point. Well, I guess I haven't done this yet. I can do this and get a conviction out of it. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So let's reset these. Dunecrest takes a turn. Threat level 1 gains a lawmaker. This one's only worth 1. All right. Fine with me. I get to take a turn. And so I'm going to start by activating my network. I will activate Crux again, which gets me 2 ambition. And then, while active, return 2 influence from this card. Gain control of an adjacent uncontrolled region using influence instead of conviction. I'm going to gain control of the trench, which is worth 4 because it doesn't do anything else. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I pass that trigger. Let's pause. Go here. I'm going to leave 1 covert op behind. I'm not going to spend my conviction to surveil it. So let's take a look at this. The covert op at game end control the smuggler's lair and have 0 blocks in potential. And then at game end, if this task is complete, gain 2 leverage and increase your ingenuity mastery by 1. That should be easy enough to do. I can probably do that. The next endgame condition is a human player has 3 chop bots with 2 or more blocks on them. Okay, I'm nowhere near accomplishing that. And then we get these 2 cards out of here. We can put the endgame condition card here. Here's my covert op. Maybe I'll put these over here because I'm running out of room on my mat for my network. All right, let's go back to this threat card. Immediately, Dunecrest gains 1 mercenary and 1 ambition. Oh man, so now he's going to tie me on mercenaries. Here's the ambition. Here's the mercenary worth 2 leverage. So I thought I was being clever. But I was not as smart as these random card draws. So to remove this threat, have a smuggler in your network when you visit the scrapyard. I've got a smuggler. I could go to the scrapyard. You may then, as a bonus action, use 2 ambition. And I've got ambition. Dunecrest loses 1 ambition if able. Place it on a threat card other than this. We've seen that before. And then you may upgrade 1 block, discard this threat. So, okay, this is a little problematic because now he's got a lot of threats. He's at threat level 2. I think I can take care of that one immediately, though. Although I was going to take care of the other one. As long as I take care of 1, that's good. But I got to do at least 1 this turn. Already activated my network. I activated Crux, so that means these dashboards are in play. So let me use the dashboards to take my first movement action. I'm just going to move 1 space to here. Now I'm going to save the scrapyard for next time because I can complete a covert op and the other threat right now. I'm going to visit the obelisk. I can convert 2 attributes into 2 different attributes. So I'm going to take 2 ambition and turn them into guile, which is scary. 2 more ambition. I got to stop doing bounties. But now I've visited the obelisk. Now I am going to... Oh no, I'm not going to accomplish this. How am I going to get another conviction? No, I messed that up again. Okay, well, all right, let's back up. I will not visit the obelisk, so these come back and these go back. Instead, and then I didn't need that first move action either, so I should still have 2 move actions. Let me use a move action to go 1, 2, 3. So that's from my dashboards, and then I will visit the scrapyard. So visit, going to the scrapyard gives me 2 might. That's 2 leverage for Dunecrest. And then this latest card was when I visit the scrapyard and I have a smuggler in my network, then as a bonus action, I can spend 2 ambition. I'll do that. Then Dunecrest loses 1 ambition. And you may upgrade 1 block and then discard this threat. So the threat's discarded. What block do I want to upgrade? I think here, watch it. This is going to be wild. I'm going to upgrade 1 from influence to conviction. Now, I'm going to spend a conviction to be able to activate my network again. So I flipped this upside down because you can take an action up to twice if you use conviction. So I'm going to activate network again. I'm going to activate Whiskers because I want that passive to be back on. And now I get to place a block in one of the primary types. And let's go with ambition because there's no consequence for that. And now we can use this passive. Once per turn, you may move a block from one of your cards to another, but this time I'll take it from luck onto Fulcrum's Rod. That's better. And now I can spend one from Fulcrum's Rod and turn it into a conviction. Man, oh man. Then I have a movement action still, my main movement action. So I've got a speed of 4, and I can complete one of these bounties. This one scores for completed bounties. What does this one score for? Leverage equal to your movement speed plus 2. Yeah, I want to complete this one. I'll get more for it. So I'm going to, for my movement action, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm still adjacent to Smuggler's Lair and Garage. So now I can complete a job at the garage. I'm going to do this one. So I need to roll for it. And that's going to cost me a couple influence. Oh, and you know what? I still need to do that, but I am now realizing I control 5 regions and they only control 1. When that happened, when I took the trench, we completed this endgame goal. So just one more will trigger the endgame. So do I want to... What do I want to do? I'm going to spend a conviction and re-roll that. That's better. That allows me to get a discount. That I really like. So instead of paying 2 orange, I only need to pay 1. So I'm going to turn an ambition and a might into a guile. So I've only needed 1 guile, so 1 ambition goes here from Dunecrest instead of 2. Now I spend the guile, and I've completed another bounty, and so that will score for me at the end of the game. And so I'd really like to spend this conviction to take over Smuggler's Lair to have a chance at getting this endgame covert op done, but I think I need the conviction too much. I kind of needed the one that I spent, but that's okay. I'm going to reset these markers, flip this one right side up again, and now it's Dunecrest's turn. At least he's back at threat level 1. He gains another Lawmaker, and it's not another threat. Thankfully, his network's pretty big, though. 2 influence for that Lawmaker. Back to me, and I just need a little setup. So I think I'm going to take out this this threat card next turn. So for this turn, I'm going to activate Rake, and so I gain 2 might, and that's 2 leverage for Dunecrest. And now I will visit the garage. So I'm spending 3 might to increase my movement. My speed goes up to 5, so that's 5 leverage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus, that's more points for this bounty. So that feels pretty good. And I think I'm going to use my passive ability now on Whiskey Ears to take this cube, this block from Rake, put it on Fulcrum's Rod, spend it, and it turns into a conviction. So let's see what I did. I visited. Oh, and I did activate my network. I did those 2 things. So I've got to move, and then I can also pick up or complete a job. And so I'm going to move first. And I'm going to move here, so I'm adjacent to the mercenary camp, and then I will pick up a job, and I'm going to pick up this augmentation job. I should have been doing more of these all along, but I'm going to slot that here on Rake. And so if I complete this one, I have to go to the archives, which I don't, where the heck is the archive? Oh, I'm next to the archives. That's interesting. But if I complete it and I slot this on a contact, then once this turn, you may gain 1 of any attribute the augmented contact provides. So that might be a good one to put on luck, because then I can gain a might and a cunning, and then 1 more, either might or cunning, my choice. So that gives me a little flexibility. Okay, now what? Oh, I need to flip a new one. So there's a new augmentation there, and it gets picked up at, that is the observatory. There are 2 observatories. So I think that's it. I'm not doing any bonus actions. Reset these. Back to Dunecrest. Yet another Lawmaker. At least it was a Lawmaker. I'm running out of room in the tableau. Another 2 leverage. He does not trigger this trigger point there. Now it goes back to me, and I'm going to start with my move action. My speed is 5 now. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I want to activate my network. I'm activating Rake to gain 2 might. Then I'm using Whiskey's passive ability to move this block from luck to Fulcrum's Rod. I'm going to spend it on Fulcrum's Rod to turn it into a conviction. Now I will visit the chop shop. So I spend a conviction to gain a new bot. And I'm going to gain this one here, Chassis. And so her card says when it's, same thing, passive ability. So if I can activate her a couple times, her passive is augmentation jobs cost you 1 fewer ingenuity to complete. So I like that because I'm trying to complete an augmentation job. So let's flip the next one over here. So I get 2 leverage for gaining another bot. And I've visited a location, and now I'm going to use 2 conviction to take over that oasis. So first, that will get me 2 leverage, which is going to trigger some stuff. We'll come back to that. Put it here so I don't forget. Man, I'm going to get another threat. But 2 things just happened. One, I've completed this threat. So he doesn't control any, or all Oasis regions must be controlled by human players. That's done. Then the player or players who control the Oasis regions may, as a bonus action, use all their ambition, and you turn your ambition into leverage. I don't think I'm going to do that at all. I'm going to leave my 2 ambition there. Then Dunecrest loses 1 ambition per player, solo game, so 1 of these comes back. I love that. Discard this threat. Good. So that happened, and I just did this covert op finally. So take control of a region from another player while using your visit action on a different region. So I visited the chop shop and then took over the oasis. And for some reason I had in my head that you needed to do it in one spot without moving. That wasn't the case. That's okay. When complete, flip this card and move up to 3 of your blocks from their current attribute hexes into adjacent ones. And so I'm going to move 2 ambition into guile, which is going to gain 2 ambition for Dunecrest, but now I can afford to complete that bounty. And so I'm going to flip this. This one's completed. I've completed 2 covert ops. Now let's see what we've done here. So we have a new endgame condition. A human player has no blocks remaining in their potential. I'm not really close to doing that. I've got 4 potential left, you can see. So we only need 1 more trigger to trigger the end of the game, though. Again, the other one here is the human player has 3 chop bots with 2 or more blocks on them. I've only got 2 chop bots, so that would take me a little bit to do that. And then if we go back to this threat, it says immediately, Dunecrest gains 1 ambition. Eek. And 1 lawmaker. Assign the top face down artifact job to the lawmaker. All right, so here's another lawmaker. That's 2 more leverage. And the top face down artifact job. Assign it. So I think that means like this. And then have a lawmaker in your network who is assigned to a bounty job. So I'd have to get another bounty. And when you visit the underground, which wouldn't be too bad, you may swap that bounty job for Dunecrest's artifact job. You may immediately complete the artifact job for free. Dunecrest loses 1 ambition, discard this threat. Okay, lucky for me, that is very doable. I can do that in 1 turn. So that was a lot of things that just happened. I can still pick up or complete a job as well, but I don't really see anything that makes sense for that. So we're going to reset these. And Dunecrest goes, and wouldn't you know it, Dunecrest is at threat level 1 again. He's going to gain another lawmaker. He's going to run out. It is another threat. That's bad. We're close to the end game. So, event, resolve immediately. Each human player loses 1 guile or 1 intrigue if able. Oh no, why did I just convert my ambition into guile? And then Dunecrest gains 1 ambition for each guile and intrigue lost this way. So I'm going to lose 1 guile. And he's going to gain another ambition. That hurt. Then discard this event and draw another lawmaker. So, okay. Got me on that one. Draw another lawmaker. This one's worth 1. I mean, this deck's about empty. There's 1 card left. My goodness. Okay. Oh, and this goes here in the network. He's got all the lawmakers. No need to be showy. So I really want to end the game where he has no threats, so he doesn't score anything for this ambition. 1 threat, okay. 2 would be a major problem. So I'm going to try and accomplish this threat right away because I think I can do it. Let's see. I'm going to first activate my network. I'm going to activate... Oh, wait, maybe I'm not. How do I want to do this? Yeah, it's fine. I'm going to activate Chassis here and gain 1 ambition. And then I'll take my move action. I'm going to move 1, 2. So I'm adjacent to the underground and Smuggler's Lair. And then I will pick up a job. From Smuggler's Lair, I can get the next bounty, and I'll grab this one now. This one might actually score me if I can complete it. I'm not sure if I will complete it, and then we'll flip this. 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 And then we'll And now, what else? Now I'm going to have to use my passive here. I'll take one of these off of Rake to move it to Fulcrum's Rod, and then I'll use that to create a conviction, and then I will visit the underground, which means I need to spend a conviction, and I can either gain a lawmaker, a smuggler, or a mercenary. And it'll either be a smuggler or a mercenary. It doesn't really matter to me. Let me grab a smuggler, I guess, because I've got one that does cunning and might. Most of them will do 2 cunning, so I might as well give myself some options. So this is Hand of the Codex. While active, you may freely move 1 block between between your conviction, intrigue, and your artifacts. Interesting. I don't know that I'll use that much. I do gain 2 leverage for my new bounty hunter, or I mean smuggler, on the opposite side of bounties. But then we read this again. It says, have a lawmaker in your network who is assigned a bounty job, and then visit the underground. When you visit the underground, you may swap that bounty job for Dunecrest's artifact job. Oh, I forgot about that. Well, that's fine. I'll swap them for the artifact job, right? Then, well, let me look at the artifact job. And you may immediately complete the artifact job for free. What does this do? Depends on what it does, because I could score for that. Surplus Hope Vat. When this job is complete, put some cubes on it. Return 1 influence. Freely redistribute your blocks you have in ambition, cunning, and might within those 3 hexes. I don't know if I'll use it. It is worth 6 influence. What is this bounty worth? Well, that could be worth, let's see, 2, 4, 6. That might be worth more. Oh, max 8. I'll probably max it out. I'd rather have this if I can complete it, but I don't know that I want the game to go on long enough for me to complete it, so I will take this. I guess I have to put 1... yeah, I've run out of space in my network here. I have to put 1 influence on it. It says place 1 to 3. I'm sure I'll use it at some point. I'm not too worried about that. And so let's reset this stuff now, but I am now adjacent to Smuggler's Lair, and I'm going to complete this next time. That's my plan. So it's Dunecrest's job, threat level 0. Great. He just gains 1 leverage. Not going to run out of lawmakers then. Oh, this. I forgot to finish this. Discard 1. He loses 1 ambition, and then we discard the card. All right, I want to try and end this before triggering another threat. And the quickest way is probably for me to take care of all my potential. That would trigger the end. And that means I might want to complete this, because this wants you to have 0 potential, control Smuggler's Lair. I can probably do that. And I'm going to complete this job at Smuggler's Lair as well. I need to get control of Smuggler's Lair. Few things going on. Let's start by completing a job. I'm adjacent to Smuggler's Lair. That's what I need for this bounty. Let's roll. This is on my chop bot, so I can't lose my contact, which is nice. Which is exactly what I rolled. Look at that. So that only severs your connection with contacts, not with chop bots. Contacts plus chop bots equals your network. So they're immune to this. So they're a little bit more limited in what types of jobs they can take, but they don't get severed. So I kind of got lucky on that. So to complete this job, I just now need to pay the 2 guile. So I'm going to have to combine an ambition and a might into a guile, like so. So that's going to give Dunecrest an ambition. And now I spend the 2 guile, and I've completed the pruner. So that'll score me 6 points at the end. So I've completed a job. Now I'll use, I haven't activated my network yet, huh? Oh, perfect. I'm going to activate Hand of the Codex, which will give me 2 cunning. That's 2 leverage for Dunecrest. And then I'll use my passive on Whiskiers to move this over to here. And then I'll use this to go like that. And then I will use this to take over Smuggler's Lair, which gets me 1 leverage. And then a move is required. That's fine. I'm going to move right here. That's a great place to be. Because, well, let me think about that. I want to be, is there an archives next to an observatory? No. It's not next to any of that. Okay, so it doesn't really matter which one I go to. Let's go 1, 2. We'll go there. So I haven't visited or rested yet, so I guess I will visit. I'll visit the observatory, which allows me to spend cunning. I'm going to spend 2 cunning to upgrade 2 blocks. So I'll upgrade 2 potential. So I can do that again next time using this guy, Hand of the Codex, again, to get 2 cunning, spend it at the observatory, upgrade my potential. I'll have no more potential. This will flip, we'll be in the end game. And I'll be controlling Smuggler's Lair and have 0 blocks of potential, so I'll score some points for that. It's looking pretty decent. I don't think I'll complete this job, which is too bad. So the question is, do I want to? I've got 2 smugglers, so I should beat them there. They've got 1 mercenary. Should I try and get another mercenary to score these red points, or am I worried about flipping another threat card by doing that? That is the question. Let's reset these. Dunecrest's turn. No threats, so just goes up 1 leverage. Great. Back to me. I'm going to end this thing. I am going to activate my network. Hand of the Codex. Give me 2 cunning. That's 2 leverage here. Then I will visit the observatory. Spend 2 cunning to upgrade 2 blocks. Now a human player has no blocks remaining in their potential. This flips. So I'm going to finish this turn and Dunecrest will go. And then we'll have 1 more round. So we'll each get 1 more turn after that. And I can still pick up or complete a job. And I'm adjacent to the observatory, of course. I'm going to pick up this from the observatory. I'll pick up this one because this one's worth 3 points. Maybe this one's more. Yeah, this one's 6 points. Maybe I can complete this. Needs to be completed at the black market, which is, oh, I had trouble finding this before. Oh, it's over here. So I can probably complete one of these, maybe both. I still have a move action. Let's move next to the black market. 1, 2, actually, it's next to the black market and the archives. I think I can get both of these done. Oh, no, wait, I can't because I'm only going to have 1 turn. Unless I spend a conviction, then I can complete 2 jobs. It might be possible. Yeah, because I haven't used this passive yet. Oh, and I haven't used this. How am I going to do this? Yeah, I'm going to use my passive to do this to this to this. Again, I think I'm going to need that. Actually, I'll spend the conviction right now to flip this, and I can activate my network again. And I am going to activate chassis, so I get this passive. When I activate chassis, I can get a might or a cunning or an ambition. I'm going to get a cunning, and so that's 1 more leverage here. But then my passive is augmentation jobs cost you 1 fewer to complete. So I've activated my network twice. That's it for me. Now we go to Dunecrest. He's threat level 0. He just gets a leverage. We each get 1 more turn now. So I'm going to activate my network. I'm going to use luck to gain 1 cunning and 1 might. That's 2 more leverage for Dunecrest. Then I will use this passive to move this to here, to then do this. Then I will pick up or complete a job. I will complete this job at the black market, which I'm adjacent to. So I need to roll the die, and I just need to, I guess, eat whatever comes up. Fine. Do this on the contact. Now I need to spend normally 2 ingenuity, but with this passive now active, only 1 ingenuity. So these combine into an ingenuity, which doesn't do anything for Dunecrest. I spend it. This is complete. That gets me 6 leverage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, we're going to trigger that last thing. That's not good. I hope it's something that I can immediately solve. I can put this on anybody. I don't really care because I'm not going to use it. Well, that's not true. Who did I activate this time? I activated luck. Let's put this on luck, and then this becomes active. While the augmented contact is active, you may add 1 influence to an artifact you control. If you have 2 more conviction, if you have 2 or more conviction, you may add 2 instead. So I'm going to add another influence here and then turn that into a conviction. So now I will spend a conviction to flip this over, and I can pick up or complete a job again. Let's complete another job. This one completes at the archives. I'm also there. Let's roll. Ooh, and we got the sever, but luckily I've got an extra conviction, so we spend it, get something else. No, sever again. Oh, that stinks. Well, that's okay. I'll live. So let me finish paying for this. I need to combine these into an ingenuity and then spend it. I only need 1 again because of this passive. So this is complete. And we'll put it on this guy. Like so. I lose this guy and I lose my leverage for him. So he's gone. Oh, actually, I don't lose my leverage. I just checked, and it gets shuffled back into the deck. Maybe you find this guy again, maybe not. I suspect not in this game, since it's my last turn. But this, I didn't get my leverage either, was worth 5. I don't think I took my 5 for that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's going to trigger this stuff. We don't really care about the end game condition. The human player has 5 or more secondary attributes combined. Doesn't matter. Game's already ending, but there is a threat. I hope I can complete it by doing almost nothing. It says Dunecrest gains 1 ambition and control of the region at the center of the map. 2 leverage there. And to get rid of this threat, all human players must be adjacent to the central map region with 2 or more might each. And so I haven't moved yet. I can get adjacent to the central region, but I can't get the might. If I had any attributes out here, I could potentially use this to rearrange, but I've already used this passive, so I can't get another conviction to be able to redo something else. So, hey, that's just going to be what it is. I think this was still a strong last turn, so I can visit or rest. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, let's visit. I will visit the archives. I gain 2 ambition. I will spend this to then return 1 influence, freely redistribute blocks you have in ambition, cunning, and might. Now I have 2 might. That's going to be 2 more leverage here, but now I'm adjacent to the central region with 2 might. So I've done that. Then, as a group bonus action, players may move any number of their might blocks to any valid locations in their own tableau. Dunecrest loses 1 ambition, discard this threat. And I was thinking I might move them here and like get 1 more conviction, but I think I've already done that this turn, so I couldn't activate it again. So there's really nowhere useful for me to have this, I don't think. So I'll just take it back as influence. That's fine. Now Dunecrest loses an ambition and this card. I can't believe I solved that. I had so few actions left. Okay, I've got nothing else I can do. So that's going to be it. So we go back to Dunecrest, 1 last turn, threat level 0, 1 more ambition. That is the end of the game. Time to score it up. So let's see, I never did this covert op, but I've got 1 endgame one. These 2 are already complete. This endgame one, at game end, control the Smuggler's Lair. I do. And have 0 blocks in potential. Also true. At game end, if this task is complete, gain leverage. That's 2 leverage. 1, 2. And increase your ingenuity mastery by 1. Doesn't really matter. I was going to get that anyway, but that was a few extra points. Dunecrest doesn't have any covert ops. Let's keep going. We do our bounties next. So let's look at the 3 bounties I've got. Blue says gain 1 leverage for each of the 7 card types in your tableau. And I can move this back over here. Man, I lost the red one. That stinks. But it includes a chop bot. So I've got blue, purple, gray, green, yellow. Is that it? Oh, and orange, of course. So everything but red. I almost got all 7. So I get 6 leverage for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then this one, gain leverage equal to your movement speed plus 2. I've got 5, so that's going to be 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And finally, gain 2 leverage for each of your completed bounties in your tableau. Max 8 leverage. So that's going to be 2, 4, 6. So that's good too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm at, looks like 75 right now. Now, this one, I assume Dunecrest gets credit for it. This says gain 2 leverage for each of your contacts with no influence on them. Max 8 leverage. Well, they've got like 1,000 contacts. I'm going to give them 8 leverage. I don't really know, but I'm going to give it to them. So what am I at? 59, so it's going to be 67. Now we score for each region we control. Dunecrest just has the 1, 2 points. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I am here at 15, so this goes up to 30. I'm way up there. And then we've got mastery. So Dunecrest definitely has the mastery for lawmakers. That's going to be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to get green. He's got no green. I'm going to get orange. I've got 3. He's got 1. I'm going to gain purple. He doesn't have any. I've got 1, 2, 3, plus I got a bonus 1 here, so technically 4. He's going to get red. We were going to tie on it, but he got it. And then I have 2 smugglers, and he's got 1, so I gain blue. He's got no chop bots. I have 2 chop bots. So, I don't know why I already gave him his 4, but I'll give him another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what do I have here? I've got 7 times 3 is 21. 25, 30. My goodness. So that's going to bring me all the way down to here. So I think that's it for tallying up score. The only other thing would be he would multiply Dunecrest, his ambition, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, times his threat level, which is 0. So he gets nothing for that. And then after tallying all that, if he had no more blocks on this mat, then he automatically wins. But that is the end. So it looks like I'm the winner. I have 120 points or 120 leverage, and it looks like Dunecrest has 77. So let me give you some thoughts. One, it is fun. I like playing the game. I enjoy it. It's a good puzzle. I've only played against Dunecrest so far. The main box comes with Dunecrest and then Happy. I think Dunecrest is the easier one, so that was the one to start with, but I mean, pretty handy win there. I think Happy is more difficult. And then there were two that I got as scrap packs. That was Bone and Scarlet Sage. And word on the street is that Bone is the very difficult Nemesis so far. Bone is difficult to beat. Dunecrest is fairly simple. But one thing people have talked about is mastery. Like you get, obviously I got a ton of points from mastery. That wasn't difficult to do. One suggestion I've not seen anything official yet, because again, as at time of recording, there's no errata or FAQ or revisions or anything yet, but I'm expecting that soon. But I've seen some people say that in order to gain mastery, you as the player must have at least 2 of that card type. Now, I don't know if that changes that much, because I still would have gotten this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this. I would have gotten all of these anyway. I've got 2 greens, I've got 2 chop bots, I've got at least 2 bounties, I've got at least 2 of these augmentations, I've got at least 2 smugglers, so I don't know if that really fixes things, but that is one thing you can do. And then another thing I've seen is some debate about this card. Now, I don't think, and this is sort of the same formula as all of the Nemesis cards, but let me pull this back up on screen. Again, I was very intentional about saying this a few times, but each round, after all human players have taken a turn, Dunecrest takes one of the following actions based on his current threat level. I have seen people make the argument that you take everything up to their level. I think the card is pretty unambiguous, but in this case, it would be when he had one threat card and gained a lawmaker, which he did a lot of times, he would also gain 1 leverage. So let's just count up his lawmakers real quick. I think he got 1 from a threat card, but we'll just keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll say 10. So if I had done that, he would have, in addition to all this stuff, gotten 10 more leverage. So he would have gone from 77 to 87. So at least in this case, I don't think that would have necessarily helped either. And I don't feel like that card's ambiguous at all. But also, as I said, as I'm hearing rules as written, the Nemesis opponent Bone is very difficult. And so it sounds like playing it that way with Bone would be nearly impossible. But Dunecrest certainly needs the help. But all that said, it's a fun puzzle. I like playing the game. I very much enjoy it. I'm not too worried about figuring out the difficulty. And there's still those 2 other opponents, Happy and Scarlet Sage, that I can play with and figure out if Bone is difficult and Dunecrest is too easy. Maybe there's a happy medium there. But also these Nemesis scrap packs are like 12 cards or something. Like it's not hard for a bunch more Nemesis opponents to be released later, and they can potentially fix balancing issues on those, which I know is frustrating to some if this is a brand new game, like you want it to work the way you expect. But if they never released any more Nemesis scrap packs, I would still be happy with it. I'm having fun playing, even though I'm kind of blowing it out of the water. I can modify the rules myself a little bit to try and give them a little bit higher score. Some of the things that we've talked about, I'm sure we can come up with other stuff. But that's just sort of what's being talked about out in board game land right now that I've seen. But that being said, a few other things. I did get to play this the other night at 5 players. So I played one multiplayer game at 5, and that was overall pretty good. I would be hesitant to play that with large groups if you've got people who are going to take long turns. We were pretty snappy about it. So, because when it's not your turn, it's kind of a lot of downtime. But we had a good group. Everybody was thinking ahead and kind of ready to go on their turn. So that helped. It played pretty well. But this is pretty small. I made sure, since it was my game and I was the only one who had played it before, most of the people at the table had played Vindication, but nobody had played Vestige. So I made sure to sit the farthest away, and I did have a really, I was running around the table a bunch, to move my pawn around on this board. I sat kind of closer on this side because I wanted to be able to see the cards, but it was kind of hard. And the grid's fine. I like the grid movement, but it's difficult to across the room try and direct somebody on how you want your pawn moved, because it's a hex grid with triangles in between. You can't really say move me me 2 spaces to the right or whatever. So I just kind of kept running around the table all night, and that was a little bit exhausting. And everything is kind of small. It's hard to see from far away. So I'd rather play this, I think, at 4 or fewer because everybody is just more able to easily sit in a place where you can see everything. But overall, it was fun at 5 players. The one thing I did not bring, we played with the same setup. I didn't put any scrap packs in or any expansion tiles or anything, but I left these neoprene mats at home because I had already found just playing solo that like these mats are not large enough for me to contain my own network as it is, and so it's you kind of spill off the mat anyway. So it's fine. I'll play with it solo, but I felt like it was kind of a silly thing to bring to a multiplayer game because everybody's kind of spilling off of it anyway. So I just didn't bother with the extra pieces. But yeah, I really, really do like I mean, I've played Vindication once and I thought it was cool. I like this retheming. I really like the cyberpunk theme going on. That booklet, the tablet, that like art and lore book that I got with the game is really interesting. It gives some cool context to this. So I do enjoy that. Like if you're the type of person who likes to get deep into the lore of a game, this game has that for you if that's something you like. And it kind of makes the whole thing more fun. Like the thematic stuff is there. And when I'm not recording it, I like to sit and, there's like a little bit of emergent story that you can get from it if that's something that you want and enjoy, which I have found it fun. So I could recommend it from that standpoint too. So I certainly think I'll be playing this on the channel again, but I am eagerly waiting whatever info is coming out from the publisher Orange Nebula on, again, I don't know if it's errata or FAQ or revisions or some combo of those things or something different, but I think there's information coming and it might affect how this solo mode works. So I'll certainly be paying attention to that. I'd like to try whatever changes might be coming. And whether there's changes or not, I expect to get it on the channel again. So again, I'm trying to play by the original rules as written. If you think I made a mistake, let me know in the comments. But there's been a lot of back and forth online, so I'm not too worried about it. But if you've got any questions, let me know that in the comments. If you just want to talk about the game, ask me anything about it, I'd love to hear. I definitely take strategy advice. If you've played against any of the other Nemesis, let me know. And I guess one other thing that I only went past very quickly earlier, but if you're trying to increase the difficulty, you can play against not only multiple Nemesis at the same time, but you can play them where they are on a team, and that will drastically increase the difficulty. So if this appeared too easy, because I definitely blew past him with the points at the end, like I don't have to play just one Nemesis. You can play up to 3 of them, and they can be, you can split them however they want. You could put any 2 on a team, or they can be one big team, whatever you want to do. So I think that's another consideration that's being overlooked a lot when people are talking about, at least with Dunecrest, being way too easy. Add Dunecrest to somebody else and then see how it goes. But let me know what you think of Vestige, and leave a like and subscribe to the video if you don't mind. I'll also put it up on Board Game Geek where you can like and comment over there and pick up a Table for One micro badge while you're at it. That would be super exciting. And after you've done all that, you can head over to my Ko-fi page, ko-fi. There's a link in the description, like all of these people listed here on the screen have done. On my Ko-fi page, you can make a contribution to the channel for as little as $1. You can do that one time or recurring monthly. For all my active recurring monthly contributors, you get your name on every video in this reserved seating list, and the Head of the Table award is for my top 10 contributors over the last 90 days. So thank you to everyone who has helped to keep Table for One going. But that's what I've got for you this time. I had a great time. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Thank you for watching Table for One, and I will see you in the next video.